This video will teach you how to draw a floor plan with Autocad. No prior experience is necessary. You will draw this floor plan. You need no drafting experience, no prior CAD experience, no design experience, because every step is detailed and demonstrated. No step is left behind. And because every step is demonstrated, it is simply not possible to fail. If you do not already have Autocad, you can get a 30-day free trial at the Autodesk site. Make sure you get it from Autodesk and not from one of the other vendors that is trying to sell it to you on the internet. They often have malware that they put on your computer. Let's begin. This is the first of this series, covering sections 1.1 through 1.4. Check your YouTube settings before we get going. Check on this little gear. Under the quality setting, set it to 720 or higher. When you first open AutoCAD, this is the screen that you see. You got the ribbon here at the top. Up here also at the top left is the undo button, which is very important to know about. We have this bar down at the bottom. If you click on the first button here, it should be the first for you. That'll turn the grids off and on. Come over and find the ortho and turn that on, and then come over and turn on the O-snap and turn everything else off. This line over here to the bottom left is the command line, and that's where you'll see the commands when you type it in. When you type a command in, you don't have to click in there, just start typing and it'll show up in there. As you can see, I just typed line, and when I enter, now I've got the line command. I'm going to escape from that for now. The first thing that we want to do is we want to type startup, the word start up, and then hit the enter button. It asks us for a value. This value is currently at 0. Type 1 and enter. Now if we come up to the top here and click on the AutoCAD icon and click new, we get this create new drawing window, and that's what you get when you give the startup a value of 1. It has 3 tabs at the top. We're interested in the tab all the way to the left. And for this book here, we are going to use feet and inches, the imperial system. That's what's used for architectural drawing. You could also set metric here. But click the imperial and then OK. Now come down and hover over the object snap button and right click. That brings up this menu. You have the options here to turn off and on different O-snap icons. The bottom one is the object snap settings. Click on that. That opens the drafting settings box, and it has settings for some of the other buttons at the bottom also, but we're just interested in this for now. We're going to turn on the end point by clicking in the box here, the midpoint. Let's turn the center off for now, extension off, and the perpendicular. So we're going to have the end point, the midpoint, the intersection, and the perpendicular, and then OK. Somehow my ortho got turned off. I'm going to turn that back on again. Section 1.2, line. Come up to the top here and click on the Home tab if it's not already open, and click on Line. Now click out in space somewhere and pull a line vertically and type 27 and then use the apostrophe symbol for feet. Apostrophe symbol on your keyboard and enter. Now you'll notice that didn't work. So this is a problem with AutoCAD. Hit the escape button and type units. And this opens up the drawing units box. And you'll see, even though we set Imperial in the startup, it didn't actually take. This is a big problem. It happens in every version of AutoCAD that I've used. So under this tab here, type, click architectural, and then OK. And now click on the line again, pull down, type 27 apostrophe for the foot, and enter. Now type Z, enter, A, enter. That's zoom. This didn't work, so I'm going to escape. Z, enter, A, enter. And that is not working right now. I'm going to try it one more time. Zoom. I'll just go ahead and type zoom because it doesn't seem to be want to take the Z command. Enter. And then A for all. Okay, now there's my whole 7-foot line. I'm going to turn off this little XY coordinate icon here because it just gets in the way of the demonstration. So I'm going to come over here to View, bring up the View ribbon, and then all the way to the left I'm going to click on this UCS icon and that will turn it off. Just go back to the Home ribbon, click on Line again, and now because we have our object snaps turned on down here at the bottom, and we have the endpoint icon turned on in our settings, when I come close to the top of this line, a endpoint OSNAP icon highlights, and then once it's highlit, we can click and it will attach. Now let's type 22 foot. Enter. And once again, it's the apostrophe symbol is what we use for feet in the architectural drawing system. So now we're going to pull down. You notice I didn't click on line again. You don't have to. You can just keep going. I'm going to type 27 foot, enter, and then come back and hover over this icon, endpoint, and click. And now I'm going to enter again. You can also escape to get out of there. Section 1.3, offset. This is the modify palette or modify section of the home ribbon. This being the whole home ribbon here at the top. And then you have these subsections underneath it, which they call palettes. And in the lower right corner, you have this button for offset. Click on that. Then you're going to type in 5 foot. 5 foot. With the, once again, the apostrophe symbol being the foot symbol. And enter. The cursor turns into a little box. Now click on the lower line and then click anywhere above it and you'll get another line. Now let's click the offset button again. Type 10 foot, enter. And click on this line all the way to the left and click inside again. And then enter again. I just right clicked, and then when you right click you get a lot of different options. If you get these green boxes coming up and you can't get rid of them, hit the escape button. Now come up here to the modify palette on the home ribbon, find the trim and click on it, and then enter on your keyboard right away. And now click on this center line and on this part of this line here. Now click on the line again, and as you approximate this upper right corner, you'll see the endpoint icon. Click on it, pull the line out towards the right, and type 12-foot enter. Now pull down and type 22-foot enter, and then come back and click on this endpoint icon here. Then you can enter again or escape. So once again, let's look at the zoom command that I was talking about. It didn't work real well the first time. Sometimes AutoCAD gets glitchy and it doesn't do what you tell it to do. But let's type Z and enter, and then you'll see in the command line we get a lot of zoom options. If I type now A enter, I've got actually some writing here. You get the whole drawing coming up and filling up the screen. Type Z and enter again and look at some of the other options. One of them that's very handy is the zoom window, and you can actually just click on that, or type W and enter, and then, okay, I'm going to undo that because that's not what I meant to do. So let's try that again. Z enter, and then W enter, and I make a window around what I want to zoom in on and click, and it fills up the window, fills up the screen. So those two are very handy. Z, then A, or Z, and then W, and use a window. What we're going to do now is we're going to make a copy of this for future use. So we're going to come up here to the Modify palette, click on Copy, and we're going to make a selection window by clicking to the lower right, and then we're going to drag up to the upper left of our little diagram here and click. And now that whole thing is selected. And read the command line now. It says to select objects. So it's still allowing you to select more objects, but we're done with that. So we're going to enter. And then it asks for a displacement point or a base point. And that can just be that's where we're going to grab it. So that can be anywhere. We'll just click in the middle. And then we'll come over here and we'll make a copy off to the side by clicking again and then entering or escaping again. So now we have two copies of that. Just one other thing about the selection windows, and they work with a number of different commands: move, copy, rotate, amongst them. But let's try copy again. Click on the copy. Now watch what happens if I move from left to right instead of from right to left. So I'm going to click down here. Now I get a blue window, and the blue window only selects things that are completely encompassed within the window. So now, like in this case, what you'll see is I'm only going to get two of the lines. So let me enter, and I'm just going to grab a base point just to show you what's going on, and click and enter again. See, it only copied the lines that were completely inside the blue window. The green, on the other hand, will select anything that is merely touched upon by it. So I'm going to select all three of them with the green window and delete them. I actually didn't get this one, and delete them. So that's the difference between the blue and the green windows. You can move around in the drawing by holding down the center wheel on your mouse, and you'll get this little hand, and you can grab the drawing, move it around. You can zoom in and out by scrolling the center wheel. So let's get our drawing now, which is the one off to the left, back into the center of the screen. We're going to use the offset tool again, which is on the modify palette of the home ribbon. Click on that and then read the command line. It asks you to specify a distance, and we are going to put in 6'6", so that's 6'6". Apostrophe is the symbol for feet in the architectural drawing system. Then we are going to enter, click on this upper line, and anywhere below it will create another line. Now let's escape and click the offset button again. This time we're going to type 5 foot, enter. Click on this center vertical line and then off to the left, anywhere. Doesn't matter where you click. It just wants to know which side you're going to offset to. And click and then escape. Click on the trim button here and enter right away. You have to enter immediately for trim to work this way. And we are going to trim out some lines here, here, and here. Now we're going to create some wall thicknesses. The walls are 3 1/2 inch thick. They call them 4-inch walls, but the framing lumber is 3 1/2 inches. So we're going to click on the offset button and read the command line. It's asking you for your offset distance. Type 3.5 and enter. We don't have to put in inches because inches are the default. So any number that you put in will automatically be inches unless you designate some other increment. So let's click on this line here, then to the inside, and we're going to click here and on the inside, and we're just going to go around and we're going to repeat that all the way around. This line here we're going to offset to the left. This line here we're going to offset to the left. This one above, this one to the left. And then let's escape. Now let's click on the trim button again and enter immediately. That turns it into a trimming tool. And we're going to go around and we're going to clean out the corners of our walls, the intersections of our walls. And this is just a standard for architectural drawings. So I'm going to go around and do that all the way around. And I'm going to pause and take care of that and then come back. So I have trimmed out all of these intersections. So let me get this one up here, with some exceptions, and that being down here at the bottom. This area is the porch, so I'm going to highlight these two by clicking on them, and then I'm going to hit the delete button on my keyboard. You could also use the erase tool up here. Okay. Now we're going to make another copy of this for later use. So let's click on the copy button on the modify palette, and we are going to click to the lower right, and then we're going to pull a green selection window up and click to the upper left, and then enter. We'll click in the center, and I'm going to scroll out a little bit and come over here and place a copy and then escape. And then I'm going to go back to our center drawing. Hello and welcome back to Autocad in 20 hours using the ribbon interface. This video covers sections 1.8 through 1.11. Your YouTube settings, under the little gear wheel here, and under the quality settings, choose an HD setting that works best for you. This is where we left off last time. We closed up all the we opened up all the corners with the trim tool, but we have this intersection here, which is an outside corner, and for that we're going to use the fillet. So click on the fillet, it's on the modify palette, and then read the command line. It's asking you for undo polyline radius, trim multiple. We want radius, so type R, enter, and you can see on the command line that the default is 0, so we can just enter. But if you've got anything else, type 0 and enter. And now when you click on these two lines, this line and this line, you can see it closes it off, and hit escape to get out of that command. We're going to make another copy of this. I've already done that. Let me get rid of that. So let's hit the copy button here on the modify palette. Click to the lower right and then again to the upper left of our drawing, and then enter. Read the command line. It's asking for the base point. That's where you're going to grab it. We'll just grab it anywhere in the center, it doesn't matter. And you can scroll in and out with the mouse wheel to get a appropriate size screen, and come across and just click again and then enter to get out of the command. And then let's pan over and zoom back into our center drawing, the one that we are currently working on. Now we're going to create the kitchen cabinets, and in order to do that, let's click on the offset tool again, and let's type 24, enter, and we're going to click on the lower of these two upper lines and then to the inside, and then we're going to click on the inside of these two lines and to the inside, and then I'm going to right click and enter to get out of that command. That's another way to get it enter. Try right clicking at different times and you'll see you have some options that vary depending on at what step of the command process you're in. So if I right click now, you can see I've got a repeat offset that I can use right there. I'm just going to escape though and get out of that for now. I'm going to click on the offset button again, and I'm going to type 8 foot 8, and don't forget the apostrophe key on your keyboard. The apostrophe symbol means feet in the architectural system. Then I'm going to enter, and I'm going to click onto this line here and then down below, and then I'm going to right click and select enter to get out of that command. Now I'm going to click on the trim button and enter on the keyboard right away, and I'm going to trim my cabinets out. I'm going to right click and enter to get out of that command. Then I'm going to select this line and I'm going to right click and I'm going to come down and click on erase. Click on the line button, then hold down the shift key on your keyboard and right click your mouse. That brings up this menu. This is the OSnap menu, and it used to be up on the toolbar, but this snap from command is only available now through this system, through these steps as far as I can find it. Click on the from button here, and then come up to this inside corner and click on the endpoint icon. Now come and hover over this midpoint icon, the little triangle, but do not click. Just let your mouse sit there. And then type in the measurement. In this case, it's 7'5". Enter and pull the mouse down, and you'll see you have a line that's now attached at 7'5" from the starting point over here. Pull the line down and type 3 foot enter. Then right click and enter again to get out of that command. Click on the offset again, type 3.5, enter, click on this line and to the left, then right click and enter to get out of that command. Now click on the trim, enter right away, and click on this point and this point to clear out the interior of that wall. Right click, hit enter, select this line, right click and erase. Now click on line and close off the end of that wall. These are our kitchen cabinets that we have created. Visit AutoCAD in 20 hours for your free trial and more information. Hello and welcome back to AutoCAD in 20 hours using the ribbon interface. This video covers sections 1.12 through 1.14. This is where we left off last time. Now we're going to add some more details to our kitchen cabinets. Zoom in here a little bit. Let's come up here and click on the rectangle button. And it's got a little arrow next to it. If you click on that, you'll see it's co-located with the polygon button. So it's possible that when you look up there, you can see polygon. Click on the little arrow if you have to, and then click on the rectangle. Now come down and just anywhere here in the middle, it doesn't matter, click and then read the command line. And it gives you some options. And we are going to pick dimensions, so we're going to type D, enter, and then we are going to type 24, enter, and 30, enter. And now we have a rectangle that is 24 by 30 inches. Now we are going to make a copy of that. Click on the copy button, grab it, make a copy just anywhere out in the space, then right click and enter to escape that command. Now click on the rotate button, and you don't have to actually close these with a window because it's one object. You can just click on it anywhere. So just click on it, and then I'm going to right click, and that actually is the same as entering at this point in this command process. So as you go along, you'll see that right clicks actually have quite a few different commands that they initiate. Now it wants a base point. You can see in the command line, I'm just going to click anywhere in the middle. Now it's going to ask me for a rotation angle, and I'm going to type 90, enter, and there you see it rotated it. Now I'm going to right click, and actually no, that one doesn't work for that one. I'm just going to escape to get out of that command. Okay, so now I have two, and I'm going to take and move them. So let's click on the move button here on the modify palette, and click on this rectangle, and now I'm going to enter, or I'm going to right click, and I'm going to grab it by this center midpoint icon. And then I'm going to turn my ortho off so it doesn't get in the way of this demonstration, even though it would work with the ortho on. And I'm going to come up and click on this midpoint icon on the middle of the cabinet. Now I'm going to right click and I'm going to select repeat move. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to right click the midpoint icon again, and the midpoint icon over here again. Now we're going to modify these rectangles a little bit. First, we're going to make a sink. Let's zoom into this rectangle here. You can see when you run over it with your cursor, it highlights the whole thing. It's one object. So now I'm going to click on offset, and I'm going to type 3, enter. Click on this rectangle, and then I'm going to click in the center. Then I'm going to right click and enter. Now I'm going to click on the fillet, and I'm going to type R for radius, enter, and I'm going to type 2, enter, and then I'm going to type M, enter. Read the command line right now. It says, undo polyline radius trim multiple. So I'm going to type M for multiple and enter. That way I don't have to go through the command for each corner. Now I'm just going to go click on each of these, and that creates a radius. And I'm going to right click and enter. So that's the kitchen sink. Now for this one, I'm going to create the stove. Click on the line. Let's click on the midpoint icon here and here. Right click and enter. Right click again, repeat line. Here and here. Now I've got 4 squares, and I'm going to, I want to use the line, but let's try and do it this way. Right click and repeat line right there. And I'm going to come and I'm going to draw 4 separate lines. They have to be separate or it won't work. Now I'm going to click on the circle. Just click in space here anywhere, and then read the command line. And it says specify radius of a circle or diameter. So I want the diameter. I'm going to type D and then enter, and then read the command line. Specify the diameter of the circle, 6, enter, and then I'm just going to click on the screen, and I'm going to right click. I was going to right click to get out. Actually, that 2 right clicks actually did bring me out of that, but you can just enter to get out of there. Okay, let's come down here, and on the O snap button at the bottom on the bar down here, let us right click, and let's now turn on the center O snap. We can do it here, or we can go to the drafting settings window and do it in here also. But you can do it just by right clicking and picking it from the pop-up menu there. Now let's hit copy, click on the circle anywhere, and then I'm going to right click, which is the same as entering, or you can enter, and now you can see I've got a center point icon. I'm going to grab it by that, and I'm going to come and set it to the center, the midpoint rather, icons on these 4 separate lines, and then I'm going to right click and enter to escape. So that's why I needed 4 separate lines. So I had the midpoints in the center of these little rectangular sections. So now I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to right click and erase. And now I'm going to use a selection window here, because the green selection window selects everything that it touches. And I'm going to select all of them. I'm going to right click and I'm going to erase. Visit AutoCAD in 20 hours for your free trial and more information. Hello and welcome back to AutoCAD in 20 hours using the ribbon. This is Chapter 1, Sections 1.15 through 1.16. This is where we left off last time. Now we are going to draw in the chimney. Let us click on the Offset button and type 8 foot enter. That's 8 apostrophe enter. And then we'll click on the lowest line and then up from that. Then we will use the offset again, type 12-foot, enter. Click on the lowest line again and above it. I'm going to right click and repeat offset that way. 18, enter. 18 is by default 18 inches. And then I'm going to enter again. I've got this button here set up with the extend. You'll see that it's co-located with the trim, so you could have either one of them up there. Let's pick the extend, click on it, and enter immediately. And then click on this and this line, and then enter to escape that command. Now we're going to click on the line, hold the shift down on the keyboard, and right click the mouse, and come down and click on this from command. Now let's click on this intersection and come out and hover over the midpoint of that same line, but do not click. Type 8.5, enter. And then pull that line down and click on the perpendicular icon on the line below. Then enter again. Now let's click on the trim command again, enter right away, and we're going to trim out the chimney box now. And then enter to escape that command. Then we are going to select these two lines and delete them or erase them. Now click the offset again, type 5, enter. Click on this line and then below it, I'm going to right click and enter. I'm going to right click and repeat offset again. And I'm going to type in 14, enter. And click on this same line and then down below it. And then enter. Select the line here. I have the ortho turned off. And here, and then enter. Now I'm going to select these two lines, and I'm going to right click and erase them. Now click on the mirror button here on the modify palette, and click on this diagonal line that we created, then enter. And it asks you for your mirror line. The mirror line is going to be an imaginary line that is exactly halfway in between this diagonal line and its mirror image that we're going to create. So I'm going to click on the center here, and I'm going to click on the midpoint here, and you'll see it disappears. That's pretty confusing, but you enter and it comes back again. And then I'm going to hit escape just to make sure I'm out of that command completely. Now click on the offset, type 3.5, enter, and we're going to create the walls of the chimney box by clicking on the outside and then to the inside, and then enter. Click on the trim, enter immediately, and we're going to trim out the inside of the chimney box lines. And there we go, there's our chimney box. Hello and welcome back to AutoCAD in 20 hours using the ribbon. This video covers section 1.17. Now we are going to draw the doors on our floor plan. This is where we left off last time. We are going to start once again by using the snap from command. So let's come up here and click on the line. Hold the shift key down on the keyboard and right click the mouse. Then select from and click on this end icon in the upper left hand corner and then come down and hover, but do not click on the end point at the bottom of that line. Type in 11 foot 6. The apostrophe sign, once again, is the symbol for feet. So it's 11 apostrophe 6, and enter. Now when I pull my line out to the right, it starts at 11 foot 6 from this upper corner. Let's come over and click on the perpendicular icon and then enter. Now click on the offset, type 32, enter, click on this line, and then down below and enter. Click on the trim, enter immediately, and select these two lines and then enter. So there's our first door opening. Now we're going to create 3 more door openings. Once again, we'll click on the line, hold down the shift, right click, click on from, click on this line, this inside corner, and then hover, but do not click here, and type 6 foot 6, enter. And then we'll click on this perpendicular icon. Let's click on the offset, type 36, enter, click on this new line, and then off to the left, and then enter. The trim, enter immediately, and then trim those out and enter. And we have 2 more of those. So let's click on the line again, hold down the shift, right click, from, on the inside of this corner, hover over the midpoint icon, type 3 foot 0.5, enter, and then click on this perpendicular icon, enter, offset 32, enter, click here and above, enter, trim, enter immediately, and then 1 more. Line, hold down the shift, right click, from, here, hover, 3 foot 2, enter, and click on the other side and then enter. Now here is a very interesting thing, and this is a problem with the snap from. As you'll notice, if you zoom way in on my screen, it didn't actually attach in the right place. And that happens with the snap from command sometimes. So you have to be careful how you use it, and you have to check it to make sure that it's doing its job correctly. The reason it does that is when you hover over the midpoint icon or wherever you're hovering down in here, sometimes you'll drift off of that and you won't even notice it. And if you do, it'll set it in the wrong place. So make sure you are aware of that. And of course you just come back and trim it out if you know it's there. Okay, we're going to go with the offset, 32, enter, here and below again, trim, enter right away, and trim those out. So those are our 4 doors that we have for the inside of our residence. Now we will add the doors. Let's start with our first door here, and we are going to create a line using a different method than what we have used before. That's by putting the data input for the line into the command line. So let's click on the line and let's click on this point here, and then we are going to type in the length and the angle of the line. So we use the about or at sign, which is above the 2 on your keyboard. And then we type in the length of the line. In this case, it's 32. And then we use the less than symbol, which is above the comma on your keyboard, and type in the angle of the line, which in this case is 315, and enter. And there you see the line appears. Escape now to get out of the line command. So this is what I entered. It's the at or the about symbol, followed by the length of the line. Then it's the smaller than symbol, followed by the angle of the line. The default system in Autocad has the 0 angle running from the left to the right horizontally. From there, 45 is up here. Let me just draw that in for you here. So there I've drawn in some more lines. This line is 0, this is 45, this is 90, this would be 180, this would be 270. So it runs counterclockwise from this line here. So this line here is 315 degrees, starting from a horizontal line that would start here and run out this way. So now we're going to show the swing of the door. Click on the circle, click here, and enter. Now click on the trim, enter right away, and we are going to trim this out. And that shows you the door swing. This next door is the front door. I'm going to click on the line here, and then I'm going to type in this, and then I'm going to enter. For this door here, I'm going to type in this. Enter to escape that. And that is the same for this other door here. So I can type that in again, or what I could do is I could use the copy, grab it, and bring it up here and just copy it. You notice I've got the ortho on, so it's got me restricted, but let me turn the ortho off. Makes it a little clearer what's going on. And let's copy that onto there. And the same process now for the door swings. Hit the circle, hit here and here, escape, trim, enter right away, and then trim them out. To show the door swings. And then I'm going to pause this and finish that off. Hello and welcome back to Autocad in 20 hours using the ribbon. This video covers section 1.18. This is where we left off last time. Now we are going to draw windows for our house that we're drawing. First thing we want to do is set up a new layer. So let's come up to the Layers palette. It's on the Home ribbon. And click on the Layer Properties button. Sometimes it takes a minute for it to open up. You can make this thing larger or smaller by grabbing the edges of it. There's a series of buttons along the top here. The one all the way to the left is the New Layer button. Click on it and it opens up a new layer. Now before you do anything, if you type the name of this new layer, and we're going to call this Windows, it just immediately enters it into the name column. Now click on this W here. Let me close that for a minute and just show you. You can grab these columns and make them larger, and you'll see actually W is actually white. And continue is actually continuous, etc. So you grab those at the top and make them larger or smaller. If we wanted to change the name, we could double click back in here and change that. Click on the white. This brings up the select color box. It's got some preset colors here on this first tab. But you can also do just about any kind of color that you can imagine using the true color. And then it's got color books also, which have thousands of colors in them. Select the red and OK, and you'll see now that the color is turned to red. Now we can set this as the current layer by clicking on this button here and then close it. But if we didn't set it current, or if we're in the process of drawing and we wanted to change the layer, that's here under the layer control. Click on the little down arrow and you can see I changed it back to the 0 layer, which is the one we've been using by default. I'm going to change it back to the Windows layer. Now we're going to create the graphics for the windows. Click on the line button and find this midpoint icon here and create a line using that and its parallel. You'll see it's now red because that's the layer that we have current. Then hit the offset, type 24, enter, and offset it to this side and offset it to this side. Enter. Click line again and draw a line down the middle, and there you have a window graphic. We're going to repeat this process for the other windows. That window, by the way, is 4 foot 0 inches, so it is 2 feet each side of the center, or 24 inches. We have another window down here. This window starts at this midpoint icon, and it is a 5 foot window. So we are going to offset it 2 foot 6, or you could put 2.5 feet also. So 2 feet 6, enter. And then a line down the middle. And then we are going to do this one here using the center of this line. This is a 6 foot window, so we are going to use the offset, and we are going to go with 3 foot, enter. I'm going to right click and use this feature now, recent input, and select line. Or you can just click on the line every time if you want. And then we have one more window here by our front door. Center midpoint icon rather again. And this is a 2'6". So we are going to use 1'3" for half of that. And enter. And then use the line again, or you can right click and find it that way. And I'm going to right click and enter, or you can enter on your keyboard, either way. So there we go. Those are our windows. Also in this section here we are going to add the stairs. So let's click on the offset, type 10, enter, and read the command line. It says select the object to offset, and that's going to be this bottom stair, and read the command line again. It gives us some more options, and we want multiple, so let's type M, enter. And now we can just keep on clicking, and we are going to click until we have 11 total lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then we're going to enter. Well, look, it took the last one out. And escape. Hello and welcome back to Autocad in 20 hours using the ribbon. This video covers sections 1.19 and 1.20. This is where we left off last time. Now we are going to add a sink and a toilet to the drawing using the design center feature. First, however, we want to create a new layer. So here on the layers palette, click on the layer properties button. Click on the new layer button. Name this layer fixtures. We are going to leave this one white for now. That's not working. Hold on. White for now. That's not changing. Why is it not changing? It doesn't want to change. Hold on a second here. This is acting very strange. There we go. We'll change it to white. Then we're going to set it current. And we're going to close it. Now we're going to come to the top here and click on this View tab to bring up the View ribbon. And here under the Palettes palette, we have this little icon. It says Design Center. Click on that and give it a moment to open. I already have it open to the window that I want it open to, but usually it won't open there. It's got all of these different, let's see if I can grab that, and I see you got to go across there. It's got all of these different sections, and it's really easy to get lost in there. The best way to find these different symbols that we're looking for is to hit this house button, or rather hit this, the best way is to hit this search button and then type in house designer and then search now, and then it's going to find it for you. And the first one that comes up here is what we want, so let's double click on that and that brings this open, this window open here. Now this window can appear differently depending on how you have this button set. So it can have these details, lists, small icons, large icons. Turn on the large icons and then click on the blocks. There you go, it took a minute to do it. And that brings up these symbols. Now the House Designer has lots of different symbols in it for different things. It's got fasteners you can see over here, electrical power, basic electronics, integrated circuits. But this is what we want here for what we're doing. You can grab this window and move it around by grabbing this bar on the side and hold your left mouse button down. Now let's pick the sink here. Let's highlight it. You can just grab it, drop and drag it, hold your left mouse button down, and then click in the screen. And we're going to pick that one. And then we're also going to pick the toilet here. So it's not responding. There it goes. It's taking a minute to respond. And drag that over. That didn't work. Let's try it again. That didn't work. There it goes. It's not working. Okay. I've never seen it do that one before. Okay, well that was just glitching on me, and you can see now I can just grab it with my left mouse button and pull it over, but it just was not working. And as I talk about in the book, AutoCAD often has these kind of glitches. One thing you can do though is if you have that problem is to highlight it, right click, and click on this insert block. Then you'll get this insertion insert window, and then just click OK, and then just come over and click. So if you get locked up in there, there's a way to get out of it. So now I'm going to close that. Okay, next we are going to rotate these. So let's go back to the Home ribbon, select the rotation button. We're going to enclose that in a window because it's multiple objects. And we're going to enter and read the command line. Once a base point, that's the point around which you're going to rotate. Just click anywhere in there. And then it asks for the rotation angle, and we have 90 in there left over from before, but if you don't, type 90 and enter. And then we're going to repeat the toilet. So click anywhere on it, and this is 180 degrees, and then enter to get out of that command. And actually you have to enter twice to get out of that one. Now let's take and move the toilet using the move command. Select the whole thing and pick it up by this midpoint icon on the back, move it over and set it to the middle point of this wall. For the sink, we're going to create an offset construction line. Click on the offset, type in 4'6", enter, then click on the inside of this line here and then above it. Now we're going to click on the move. We're going to find the midpoint here, which is actually an endpoint icon. That's because this sink is made up of a whole bunch of different lines. And then come over, and we are going to attach that to where this construction line meets the wall here. Then escape, select this line, and erase it. Now they're right against the wall, so in order to make them look a little nicer, we're going to move them. Let's click on the move button, click on the toilet, enter, It wants a base point. That can be just anywhere. Click inside it anywhere. And for this we need to turn the ortho on. So let's come down here and click on the ortho. And now pull the toilet straight up and type 1 and enter. And you can see it moved it 1 inch away from the wall. It gives it a little bit better definition. It looks a little cleaner that way. Let's repeat that with the sink. Click anywhere on it, pull it away from the wall, type 1 and enter. And it moved it 1 inch away from the wall. And with the ortho on it, it restricts it to rectilinear directions. Let's escape now to make sure we're out of that command. Now we're going to add the washer and the dryer and a platform for the water heater, which is going to be in the corner of this space, which is the garage. Click on the rectangular button, click in the screen and type D, enter for dimensions, then 30, enter, 30, enter, and click in the screen to set it in there. Now let's click on the copy button anywhere on the rectangle. We'll select it and then enter, and then grab it by this upper left corner, and let's turn the ortho off again just so we can see better what's going on. And let's place it there and there. And I'm going to place another one here, and I'm going to repeat the copy. And I'm going to grab it and set it there. Let me get rid of this now. And I'm going to get rid of this now. That last one should have been a move, actually, not a copy. So now we're going to move these away from the wall. I'm going to click on it, pull it away, turn the ortho back on again, pull it down, 1, enter, repeat the move, 1, enter. And now you can see it's 1 inch away from the wall on both sides. I'm going to repeat that with this one here. I want to make sure the ortho's on for this kind of a maneuver. Otherwise it'll set it off at some strange angle. This one stays against the wall because it's a platform. But here we're going to create a water heater. So I'm going to draw a diagonal line again. Then I'm going to use the circle, click to the midpoint icon, and then I'm going to enter in D for diameter and 24 for the diameter, and then escape, and I'm going to select that line and erase it. So as you can see, we're starting to have a house plan here. Hello and welcome back to Autocad in 20 hours using the ribbon. This video covers sections 1.21 and 1.22. This is where we left off last time, and as you can see, the plans are pretty well completed for a floor plan, simple floor plan. Now we want to add text. The first thing we want to do is to create a new layer. So let's come up and click on the layer properties, and then click on the new button and just type in the name of the layer. We'll call it text. Somehow this got set as red. I think it's duplicating the layer above it is what it's doing. Let's just change it back to white for now. And then we're going to set it current and close it. Just to review, here's the layer control, and you can also set your different layers current here also. So we have the text set right now. Now we're going to set up a style for our text, and there's several different ways to open up the text style dialog box. One way is to go here to the annotation palette, click on this down arrow, and here you have the text style, and below it you have the dimension style, multi-leader style, the table style, the two important ones being the text style and the dimension style. And you can click on that, and it opens up the text style dialog box. If you get these windows like this, just escape. You can also type in style and enter, and that brings it up also. There's other ways to bring up the text style box, but these are the easiest. There's probably no reason to ever use the other ones. It already has two styles set up. One is annotative. We're going to use the standard, which is the non-annotative. Now click on the new, and then just type. You don't have to click in this box, just type in the name of the style, and we're going to call our style 9, and then OK. Now we'll click on that, and we're going to now change a few of the settings. Under the font name, click on the little down arrow and choose the font that you want. In the book we're using City Blueprint, so I'm going to click on that. Let's make sure the annotative is turned off, and we're going to just set up a 9-inch height for this particular style, and just type 9 because inches is the default that we have set up. Now apply, set current, and close. Now type MT, enter. That's MT for multi-line text, and click in two different spots here in the center of the drawing. Now I've got the text formatting toolbar here set up, and the way you can get that is to click over here on the options palette. Sorry, that's under the text editor ribbon that comes up as soon as you type mtext. It opens up this ribbon automatically. Then click on More, Editor Settings, and then Show Toolbar. You see it took it out of there. And I'm going to turn it back on again because I just think it's easier to use, but all of the same settings are up here. You can see here's the style, and here's the style here, and here's the size of the text. It's up here. Here's the font, that's here. Here's the justification, that's along here. This also, you have this justification button here. If you click on it, you'll see you get some settings. That's located over here. So everything that I've got on the toolbar is all up above here, and you can just find it up there if you don't want to use the toolbar. We're going to set ours for bold, and we're going to come over here to the justification. We're going to go middle center, and then I'm going to put my cap locks on, and I'm going to type the word kitchen, and then OK. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy it to different places where I want that same type of text. So I want it over here, and down here, and here, and here. And this is just a method that I use to get consistent text without having to open an mtext box every time. Now I'm going to move this one here up into the kitchen area. Now I'm going to go along and I'm going to double click on these, and that opens up the text editor again. You need to watch that when you go to work with these, that you highlight the text, and it's possible to click on it and to click in the spaces in between the letters if it's large enough. So when you go to select it, make sure that you can see it high, and then double click, and that opens it up. Now click to the side and hold down the left button on your mouse and scroll across it to highlight it, and then just over type it. Okay, and we'll just repeat that for each of these. Double click, click to the side, scroll across. This is just my own method. You can open up an MText box every time if you want. But this is, I find, the fastest way to put text in multiple places that's consistent in its properties. I'm going to take this bathroom and I'm going to move it over a little bit. So there you go. Now we have the room designations. Next, I'm going to add the text in for the windows. So let's come up here to this top window. I'm going to type MText again, and I'm going to open another box there. And I'm going to change the height of the text, so I'm going to double click in this box. Sometimes you have to click to the side and scroll across it, but it has to be highlighted in blue. You can also do that up here, same thing. And I'm going to scroll across that, and I'm going to overtype it with a 6, and I'm going to enter. Now I'm going to justify it to the middle center again, and bold. And I'm going to type the size of the window in there. And this window here is 4-0 space times space 3-6, and then SLD is for slider. It's a slider window. And by the way, this kind of a designation here, this kind of graphic, shows a slider. Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to make a copy of it. Escape, hit the rotate button, select it again, click in the center, type 90, and I'm going to rotate it. And now I'm going to take and copy this to the different places around the drawing. Actually, this one's only in the one place. And then I'm going to copy again to here and here. And now I'm going to double click on these and I'm going to highlight them and overwrite them. I don't have to do the whole thing though, so I can just click on the size there and redo it, and then leave the SLD 5-0 space times space 4-0, and then OK. And I'm going to repeat that with all of these, or with the other two rather. Now this one here is a little awkward. It extends over into the door, so I'm going to highlight it and I'm going to click just to the side of the 4-0 and I'm going to enter. And because I have it justified to the middle center, it lines it up this way. Now OK, then I'm going to move that by using the moving tool, and I'm going to move the other ones a little bit also, position them where I like them. Okay, now we're going to put the door sizes in, and that's just basically the same thing that we've done so far. I can just actually copy this up here, highlight it, and just change it to the door size that I want, which is 2-8, and then OK, and I can copy that around where I want it. You might have to turn your O snap off because you can see it kind of wants to snap to some points, so you might want to turn your O-snap off, rotate it, and it's actually going to be 270 to get it back around to being the vertical. And I'm going to move it over into this door opening here, escape. I'm going to highlight it, come over and change it to 3-0. So now we have a few more details. I'm going to open up this garage door using the midpoint of the outside line. Use the offset 4.5 feet to both sides. Trim, enter right away. Erase the center part. I'm going to add a line in up here to close off the end of that wall. Now I'm going to create a arrow that shows the direction of the stairs. I'm going to draw a line, turn the ortho on, 36, enter, and now I'm going to type in coordinates for the next line at 18 less than symbol 60, enter, and then come back and click on this perpendicular. I'll show you what I just typed in there. Okay, now I'm going to use the mirror tool. I'm going to select these two lines on the side, and then you watch the prompts. The thing is, it disappears and then you enter and it comes back again. That's one thing you have to watch with that. Now I'm going to copy this kitchen down here to the bottom, turn the ortho back off again, copy it down here, double click on it, highlight it, type up. I'm going to create a rectangle around that just by eye. Now I'm going to move my arrow. I'm going to grab it by the point, put it over here on the stairs. Now I'm going to move the rectangle, grab it by the midpoint, put it on the end of the arrow, trim, enter right away, and I'm going to trim out the inside of the box in the arrow, and I'm going. So here you can see we've added the text for the washer, the dryer, the water heater, a note for the stove, and just one note here: if your lines aren't coming out correctly, say you want one line and they're coming out of multiple, grab this little side of the ruler and pull it out. You can see what happens there. Hello and welcome back to Autocad in 20 hours using the ribbon. This video covers section 1.23. This is where we left off last time, and the drawing is pretty well done. Now we're just going to add dimensions. The first thing that we want to do is we want to create a new layer for dimensions. Click on Layer Properties and then the New, and just type the name. We'll call this Dimensions. We're going to leave it white for now. Actually, this came out at 255. Let's click on it. Okay, so it goes back to white. We're going to set it current and close it. And just as a brief review, don't forget that this is the layer control. You can set any of these current up here. I'm going to get rid of this. Okay, the next thing we want to do is we want to go to the text style, and find that here, or type style, enter, to bring up the text style dialog box. And we are going to click on the standard because we want to change the standard. It's the one that goes along automatically with the dimensions, and so we want that to be consistent with what we're using, which is City Blueprint. Let's come up here and find that. Click on that. It's the same. So we'll just apply, and then we'll set that current, and then we'll close it. Now we are going to create a new dimension style. So let's come up and click on this annotation button again. That is on the home ribbon in the annotation palette, and click on the dimension style manager. You can also type dim style, D-I-M style. That'll bring up the same box. Click on the standard, and then we are going to click on the new, and we're going to name it. We're going to name this one quarter, and then continue. That brings up this new dimension style dialog box, and it has a whole series of tabs across the top for different settings for your dim style. Let's click on the fit first of all. This is probably the most important part of the whole thing when you're using the non-annotative dim styles. And let's click to the right of this 1 here, 1000, and then scroll across it to highlight it, and let's overtype it with 48. This is the ratio of the scale of 1/4 inch equals 1 foot. There are 48 quarters of an inch in 12 inches. And that is the scale which we are setting this floor plan up to be printed in. This is all discussed in detail in chapter 13 in the book. Now let's come under primary units, and let's make sure the format is set, because even though we've told AutoCAD we want architectural, you can see that it's not setting it. So click here under unit format, pick architectural, make sure the scale factor is 1. Scale factors are discussed in detail throughout the following chapters. Now click on the text, and let us make sure the settings here are standard. We're going to change the text height to 1/8 of an inch. We want to make sure we're centered for vertical and horizontal placement, left to right, and then we want to have this one checked in the middle. This is a radio button, aligned with dimension line. Now let's click OK. And back in the dimension style manager, click on the quarter. You'll see it now down here in the description, and it gives you a graphic of what that looks like. Now we're going to set it current, and we are going to close it. Now come up here and let's click on the linear button here. It's co-located with aligned, angular, and a number of other buttons. So you could see one of those in there. You could see any of them in there actually. Click on them, you'll see that they take over that space. So, but that's where it's located. Click on the linear. Make sure your O snaps are turned on, and then click on the outside corner and the other outside corner at the top, then pull it up and click it into place. And you can right click the mouse if you have it set up that way, just to continue, or click on the button again. Now here's something important. When you go to click on these, sometimes it snaps to a different spot, so make sure that it's snapping where you want it. And then once again, pull it out to the side, click it, and we're going to repeat that here now in the front. Click on this point and pull it down. Now we're going to use a different command. Let's come up and click on the Annotate tab to open up the Annotate ribbon. And here, under the Dimensions palette, click on Continue. Now come down into the drawing and click on this point here, and on the lower right corner, and then enter. And you can see what the continuous does. It gives you the, I'm going to escape again, it gives you the dimensions that you click out in a straight line, so you don't have to line them up manually. Let's try that again. Now everything can be done here from the annotation ribbon. That can be done from the home ribbon. Right here we have the linear and all of these under this button, so click on that. Click on the lower left corner and on the corner of the chimney, pull it out. Now click on the continue, click on the other side of the chimney, and then on the upper left corner, and enter. And there you see, once again, it lined up those measurements. Now we've just got one more dimension we're going to add to our drawing. We're going to pull that out to the side and enter. And there we go, there's our dimensions. So there we now have a more or less completed floor plan. Different jurisdictions will ask for different notes, and there are actually things we add to this drawing when we finish the plans off at the end of the book. But this shows you all of the different components. What exactly you put on your plans, that's going to vary from one jurisdiction to the next, or the details that you want to add for your builder. Visit AutoCAD in 20 hours for more information, and the next chapter in the book covers elevations.